course, we are greatly honored to be here in Reading Area Community College today, as we are delighted to welcome Mr. Tom Perez, Senior Advisor and Assistant to the President and Director of the White House Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, right here to the city of Reading. It is truly a visit that would highlight the importance of President Biden's investing in American plan, a vision that is truly transforming communities like ours, to say the least. I had shared that a couple of years ago, Reading wasn't what it is today, and that only has been possible because of the collaboration and synergy that I often talk about. When I learned that Mr. Perez would be touring Reading, the first place that came to mind was the new White's Healthcare Pavilion. This remarkable project, which is $20 million investment that will provide training and certification programs for those entering our workforce, allowing them to enjoy family sustainable jobs in the healthcare industry. The investment we speak of includes a $2 million funding that we provided from President Joe Biden's American Rescue Act plan on behalf of the city. Dr. Looney, President of the RACC, deserves a heartfelt thanks for hosting us today and for her tireless efforts in making RACC a hub of educational excellence. As many of you know, RACC is a Hispanic serving institution, as my understanding is probably half.
Almost half.
Almost half. A designation that highlights its commitment to serving a diverse community. The Biden-Harris administration had invested $15 billion in Hispanic-serving institutions across the nation, recognizing their crucial role in advancing educational equity and economic mobility. The White's Healthcare Pavilion is a prime example of how this investment is making a significant difference, to say the least. Once completed, the state-of-the-art facility will provide additional classrooms and a lab space for RACC's 14 assisting healthcare programs and enable the induction of 9 new programs. This expansion is not just about building and equipment. It's about empowering our students with the skills they need to succeed in the healthcare industry, which is so vital to our nation's well-being. In fact, I take very much pride on. I often share, or have shared in the past, that by trade, I'm a federally licensed health insurance agent. And 11 years right here in the city of Reading, I work in that field. And I saw the need for it. I saw the lack of. I saw the fact that we were not getting educated. In fact, I'll dare share that we are grateful to the Biden administration for extending a $4 million grant for advancing health literacy, which is in collaboration with RACC, State Health, St. Joseph, Latino Connection, and of course being led by the city. So we take pride in that fact that we are making changes, that we are educating our communities so that they could get the best health care possible. And that's something that I take very seriously, and I thank you for that, and I thank the administration for that. Today's visit shows the positive impact of federal investment in local projects. We continue creating opportunities for our residents and building a stronger, healthier community. The collaboration between the federal government, our city, and institutions such as RACC is a powerful tool for good, to say the least. So thank you, Mr. Perez, for your visit. Your presence here today reaffirms our shared commitment to building a brighter future for Reading and its residents. So thank you for being here, and thank you again, Dr. Looney, for your leadership and dedication. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Muchísimas gracias. Yo soy dominicano, él es boricua.
Así
y,
es.
Estamos aquí juntos.
Así es.
Para celebrar lo que están haciendo aquí in Berks County. Good afternoon. My name is Tom Perez, and I have the privilege of serving as a senior advisor to President Biden and the director of our Office of Intergovernmental Affairs. And I love coming to community colleges because in a prior chapter of my life, when I was your labor secretary under President Obama, I spent a lot of time at community colleges. And President Looney, you are leading a spectacular institution. And I'm inspired by all of your leadership here and what you do. You know, community colleges, I think, are the engine of upward mobility across America. There's an adage in workforce development that we've always operated by, and I know you do as well, which is you take the job seeker where they are. And the average age, as I learned a little while ago, of people who are coming through this incredible institution is 27. There's a lot happening in their lives, and there's a lot that has happened in their lives. And what they have is a passion and a desire to make their lives better. That's what Joe Biden is about. That's what Kamala Harris are about. You know, when we took over, when President Biden assumed office in 2021, you recall where we were in the throes of a pandemic, pandemic-induced recession. People had lost their jobs, they'd lost their lives, there were empty seats at the kitchen table. And the president understood, even during that challenging moment, that moments of gravest crisis, if you look at history, are also the moments of greatest opportunity. You know, I had the privilege of leading the Labor Department, and, you know, most of the laws we enforced at the Labor Department were a product of the New Deal. That's a slight exaggeration, but not a large exaggeration. And before that, I ran the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, and most of the laws we enforced there were a product of the Civil Rights Movement of the 60s. Now, I would argue that the two most tumultuous decades of the 20th century were the 30s and the 60s. And out of that, we accomplished so much. We're in the middle of a third transformational moment, and you are living that moment. And one of the most important things that the president understood, and he understood this day one, was that as we dealt with the challenges of the pandemic, we need to make sure that we take advantage of these opportunities and we filter them through a North Star. And his North Star was one word. And he embodied that word in an executive action he took literally day one. And it was an executive action on equity. What equity meant, and continues to mean to the president, is as we make these investments, and the American Rescue Plan was a historic investment and frankly a covenant with state and local governments. It was a statement of trust because we understood that the people who know best about what's best for Berks County are the three people to my right and other people in this room. So you had tremendous flexibility. And these investments are about helping people. Many people who lost a loved one and needed to come back to work. Many people who always wanted to get in the healthcare profession or maybe manufacturing because you've got a very robust manufacturing ecosystem here. But life intervened. They had a kid. They had other responsibilities. Stuff happened. And what you have done and what we have done collaboratively, and this is why I'm so excited to be here, and this is why the Vice President has been here, and this is why the First Lady, as you know, knows a little bit about community colleges because she is a community college professor and a community college champion. And that's what this is about. In the end of the day, governance is about helping people. And Joe Biden's North Star, in addition to equity, is Scranton. And Scranton and Berks County, you know, you might have a healthy competition on this or that, but you know what? The values are totally aligned. And those are the values of looking out for your brother, looking out for your sister, looking out for your neighbor, helping them move up the ladder of opportunity. That's what it's about. That's what Joe Biden's vision of our economy is about. It's about helping everyday folks who they got game, but they need a little help. And these investments that you see embodied here with the American Rescue Plan, and we were proud to make those investments, and I applaud Governor Shapiro for his investments. I applaud the mayor, who is a history-making person in his own right. And that's a big deal, sir. And I applaud all of you, your Senate delegation, your House delegation. They are relentless in understanding that the healthcare profession here, we've got a bright future. But the thing that keeps us up at night the most is workforce. And you are building that pipeline. So that's what this is all about. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to invest in people. Because when we invest in people, I'll take that bet any day of the week. And Joe Biden will take that bet any day of the week. Those folks, that average 27-year-old, those are the folks who could have grown up in Buffalo, where I grew up, could have grown up in Scranton, where he grew up, are just trying to make their lives better, trying to make something productive and constructive out of their lives. And that's what governance is about. And that's why I am honored to be here today. We're going to continue to work with you, together with you, so that we can continue to develop that cadre of well-trained, culturally proficient. I don't use the word culturally competent. I always want to aspire to be beyond competent. Competent's good. It's better than incompetent. But proficient is better than competent. And you are training the future cadre of culturally proficient men and women who are going to care for the people in this community. That's what the American Rescue Plan has been all about. It's about community-based solutions to challenges. And that's why we are so excited to be here. And there's more to come. And there are more workforce dollars that you're well aware of. And you will always continue to be competitive for those competitive grant programs because you're showing results. And that's what it's all about. And that's what excites me. And that's what excites the president. If he were here, he would say to you, I've never been more optimistic about our future. And I know that seems a little hard to believe sometimes when you read the news. But again, remember what history teaches us. The moments of seemingly gravest crisis are the moments indeed of greatest opportunity. And the thing to remember most, and you know this because you are doing it, is you want to meet that moment. Because these moments don't last indefinitely. And you don't want to wake up the day after the moment has come to an end and realize I missed the moment. You have been meeting that moment in a big way, Mayor. You've been meeting that moment in a big way, President Looney, and all of your colleagues. I love your story, by the way. I love your story, Mayor. It is so compelling. If I were a student here, some people say I know what you're going through, and it's somewhat hollow because they don't. You do. You do.
We get it.
And the community, we're proud to have this as one of our anchor Hispanic serving institutions in not just the state, but in the country. That's what you have. This is a gem. And we're going to continue to make sure it stays. Thank you.
Look at that. Thank you so much.
I'm happy to answer any questions that our friends from the media might have.
Could you just touch more on, why you specifically chose Reading here today, please?
Because they're kicking butt. Seriously. I mean, it's, the vice president has been here. We've had other folks here as well. And, we want to continue to see ROI on our investments. And when we come here, we not only see it, but then we take lessons back with us and speak with our colleagues about what else to do. I can tell you, again, as your former labor secretary, I learned so much from my visits to various communities. And a lot of our competitive grant programs ended up being a product of studying the laboratories of innovation that were all across the country. And we would learn from them, and we'd come back and we'd say, wow, we've seen 6 communities doing the same thing, and what they all have in common is that they are doing great work. So why don't we scale this up? Why don't we have another competitive grant program so that we can continue to do this? Because, again, the biggest challenge in the healthcare profession, I would argue, well, there's a couple big challenges, one of which is workforce. And we've got to continue to work on that. Another one of those challenges is the cost of prescription drugs. That's a different conversation. And I'm proud of the fact that Joe Biden successfully, for the first time in 40 years, I mean, the craziest thing in the world is the VA negotiates, for lower drug prices with the industry, but the Medicare program, until Joe Biden successfully took them on, wasn't able to do that. Like, go explain that one to me. There's only one explanation, and that was the pharmaceutical lobby. And any of you, and the Latino community is disproportionately suffering from diabetes. Y si tiene diabetes y necesita su insulina, solamente tiene que pagar $35 por mes. Antes de Joe Biden, tuvieron que pagar $200, $300 por mes. Y con frecuencia ellos no tuvieron 300 o $400 para pagar. That's a big deal. And these are the things that we have to keep doing, day in and day out. I mentioned equity. Equity means everybody gets a fair shake. Equity means that zip code never determines destiny. Equity means that you shouldn't have to choose between your insulin or your rent or your cell phone payment. And all too many people have to do that. And by the way, that's just the first drug we were negotiating. And by the way, he wants the $35 a month for everyone, not just people on Medicare. And Joe Biden is a persistent human being. I predict he's going to get that done.
Awesome. Awesome.
Other questions?
All right. I believe
Excellent.
we're gonna
Thank you for your
continue.
time. Yeah.
We're going to continue on a tour of several projects that we have been able to complete as a consequence of some funding. So
Yeah.
media's going to meet us back at FirstEnergy, or are we stopping anywhere else?
They're going to ride in the van with us.
Oh, perfect.
Excellent.
We're going to the Canal Street Skate Park, $2.1 million investment.
Excellent.
Third and Spruce, all